On the Healthy Human Revolution podcast, Dr. Lori Marbas interviews nutrition and lifestyle medicine experts and extraordinary guests whose informative and inspiring stories will empower you with the knowledge to transform your life and health.
Welcome to the Healthy Human Revolution podcast. I'm Dr. Lori Marbas, and I'm so excited to introduce Miss Katie Adair. How are you? Soon to be Dr. Katie Adair.
Hopefully soon. Yeah, I'm doing really well. How are you doing, Lori?
Good, thanks. And so Katie and I crossed paths working on some other research projects together with another group. And I was just enthralled from the beginning. And we've met and we headed off. And then I decided you would be the perfect candidate to take my place at the International Journal of Disease Reversal and Prevention. And now Katie is the managing editor of the IJDRP. So congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying that role. It's a lot of fun to interact with some of the biggest names in the plant-based world. It's kind of intimidating, but it's been really great.
I honestly, you were made for that role. You're going to take it to the next level that I could never dream of. So I'm super excited to see, the future of the IJDRP. And by the way, guys, that's ijdrp.org, open access medical journal based on plant-based nutrition research. And check it out, support it. It's really, really cool. Dr. Kim Williams is the editor-in-chief, who we all love and adore. So definitely ijdrp.org, guys, check it out. And Katie is the managing editor, so don't email me anymore. Email Katie.
Yeah, send them my way. Also,
send them Katie's way.
Yeah, it's the best journal. I have to say, the people working there are just incredible. I mean, every time I talk to them, I feel just so much better about myself, so pumped up. They're just so kind and loving, and they genuinely care. And yeah, working for the journal, I'm so proud of it. I think it's so much fun. So
awesome.
Very grateful.
That is really cool, because that was literally built from Post-it notes on my wall. So it started with the conversation with Dr. Scott Stoll and Dan Purgis. Oh my goodness, that was in 2017. Has it been 3 years already? Yeah. And they're like, we want to start a medical journal. I'm like, okay. Have you guys started a medical journal? I was like, no. I was like, well, I haven't started a medical journal. So I guess we'll figure it out. And we did. So Katie, I'm so excited that you have taken those reins. I feel so relieved and honored to hand them over to you. So I'm really excited to see where you go with it.
Well, thank you, Lori.
You're welcome. So Katie, speaking of why we're saying like she's going to be a doc, is a PhD student on the tail end of that and has done some amazing research. Can you tell us a little bit about just a little bit about your research? Because then I want to go into your story, because that's pretty cool. And so tell us a little bit about what your research is, because I want people to know your expertise.
Yeah, so I do research on a bunch of different things. My passion is really plant-based diets and how they can help improve chronic diseases, specifically chronic kidney disease. That's kind of the area that I work in. But chronic kidney disease is so multifaceted. You have hypertension and diabetes, usually obesity, all of those things tied in with chronic kidney disease. So I'm looking at all of these diseases, all of these chronic diseases that a good majority of our country suffer from, and how those can be, mitigated by a plant-based diet. And I look, I also do some research in like data science, I guess. I look at different data sets from the CDC, which are absolutely incredible and huge. And I'm a statistics nerd, so I take a lot of this data that's been collected and I look at different ways, different methods, I guess, for analyzing chronic diseases, and specifically chronic kidney disease, or CKD. But yeah, I have a lot of fun with telling everyone about plants and doing a lot of statistical coding. I for some reason, I just have so much fun with that.
You are such a nerd. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what my friends tell me too. But it's like a puzzle, and you get to solve, something like a mystery almost, using numbers, using statistics. And yeah, when you get the results, it's really fascinating. And then going backwards and trying to figure out, okay, why did we get this result? This is not at all what we thought we would see. So
fantastic.
That's what I like to do. Yeah.
and hence you guys can now understand why she's a perfect place at the journal. I love it. So now, Katie, I see also, we're going to talk about your plumbing story, but I see you're wearing a Healthy Human Revolution shirt.
Oh, this is my favorite shirt, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
And I really do mean that. It's very soft.
It is. We only the best from the HHR, but we'll get to why you're wearing that shirt here in a second. Besides, you're just awesome. But tell us a little bit about your athletic endeavors. Not only are you smart and beautiful, but good grief, things that you can do. I've seen her do pull-ups, guys, in person. And I mean, it's just, I'm so jealous. But anyway, that's outside the point. But tell us about Katie growing up in Littletown, Texas, who I know her parents, who are just sweet as amazing as well. But and what that was and how this led to college and being an amazing athlete.
Yeah, I'll take you through kind of the journey, my life in a nutshell, maybe. So yeah, I grew up in Graham, Texas. It's a very small town, awesome place to grow up though. And I have fantastic parents, who were just very supportive and, yeah, very encouraging, I think, my entire life. But we grew up riding horses and we had cattle. My dad has a feed store and raises beef cattle. So I grew up in that culture, as you can imagine, eating red meat every single day. And yeah, and riding horses. And that was such a fun thing to do. I learned how to become fearless. Really, you get bucked off of a horse and you get back on and you keep riding, right? But I was also at the same time I was doing gymnastics. So I did gymnastics for about 10 years. I had ridden horses, and my favorite thing riding horses was barrel racing. So that is like the most adrenaline rush, you can get pretty much on the back of a horse in my little world. So yeah, I was just not too scared of anything. Being a gymnast, being a horse rider, and all of those things. And in junior high, I wanted to be involved in sports because I thought this is just, the next adventure. This is going to be so fun. I was really quite terrible. I was really small too. This was like 7th grade. So I was 12 years old, really tiny for my grade. I was the smallest kid in my class and very weak, extremely weak, which you wouldn't guess now because I'm an average height, like 5'7". Yeah, what are you gonna say?
Even with being a gymnast, you were weak. I just can't believe you. I'm Katie. I don't believe you.
I was just I had decent, I actually had like biceps. I mean, you can see pictures of me riding horses and I look really strong, but I was so small that I was just.
But you were tiny and mighty, but it doesn't.
Yeah, well, moral of the story.
Gotcha.
Moral of the story, I couldn't hit a volleyball over the net. So I didn't even try out for the volleyball team. And this was junior high was like the time you had to make it or break it at this time. And I didn't try out for volleyball. The next sport was basketball. And I wanted to be a basketball star more than anything. I thought that was my destiny. And I really did. I tried out for the team, but I couldn't make a free throw without jumping off the ground. And they said, you need to keep your feet planted. And I said, well, I can't do that because I'm not strong enough to get the ball to the net. And they said, you can't be for real. And I said, no, I'm just going to have to jump. And so, needless to say, well, maybe not needless, I'll tell you, there were 4 teams, A team through D team. And I was one of 2 people in the whole school who didn't make any of those teams. And I was so sad because I thought I was going to
put you on D team. I mean, come on.
I couldn't even get a I couldn't even get a pity, but it's okay. I think God had bigger plans for me because
absolutely.
the very next season was track, and I tried out for every event on the track team. And I remember specifically I had tried out for 7 events, and they only wanted you in a handful, right? And pole vault, kind of tryouts came up, and all you had to do were pull-ups, and you had to do 3 pull-ups forward and then 3 chin-ups, with your hands facing the other way. And I knew I could do that because, like I said, I was tiny and it was really easy to lift myself.
But you are not weak. If you could do a pull-up, you are not weak.
You're right. I had really
tiny and mighty.
really big guns, but yeah, couldn't throw the basketball, but I could lift myself. So yeah, I just thought I had already tried out for too many things, and I was like, "Oh man, I really want to try out for this, but I shouldn't because my coaches are going to get really mad because I've already tried out for so much." And my friend Leah at the time, best friend from childhood, turns around and she goes, "Katie, you need to go over there and try out." And I was like, "No, no, I can't." She goes, "Go." And so I just picked up and I went and I tried out and they let me, they said, "Okay, you can come to the initial practice for pole vaulting. Um, it's this afternoon. You got to, run over to the high school." And so after, school, I ran over to the high school and I watched these boys pole vaulting and about half the time, and I'm, not exaggerating, they'd go up and they'd come back down and they'd land on the ground or on their head or,
Oh
you know,
my goodness.
it was scary, and there were probably 10 or 15 of us girls there who had tried out and gotten through the pull-up, I guess hurdle, like, and had made it out to practice. And by the end of the day, there were like maybe 4 of us still standing, just and this was just watching practice. Um,
They're like,
so
nope, not doing it.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people were just like, "That looks terrible. That looks scary." And I thought, that looks like fun and kind of looks like what I do on my horse. I'd go up and I fall down on the ground and then I do it again. So it just wasn't scary to me, and I thought it looked like fun. So yeah, I kind of started to, join the pole vaulting squad, and there was an amazing coach there. He's still in my hometown and just a great guy. Coach Gordy, and he was so encouraging to me, but I was really bad. I mean, I was just awful at pole vaulting, and we all started really small, but everyone kind of took off a little faster than I did. And so that first year, that first whole season, they said, "You can kind of practice with us, but I don't think you're going to go to any track meets and you're not going to compete for the team. You kind of need to just stay at home and do a little practice." So I practiced that whole year, and I don't even know if I competed. Maybe they let me at like one meet. But I came back the next year and I was really determined, and I wanted to be good at something. And so yeah, I got better in 8th grade, and then from there it was kind of a slow increase. And I started going to a coach in the Dallas Fort Worth area, which is like a 2-hour drive each way. And my coach there, George, he's like a private coach, just an amazing guy, and helped me improve from, I was going about 8 feet in my freshman year of high school. And he got me to 12 feet 7 inches my senior year of high school. And that was, I didn't realize it, but that's like a recruitable height. And I had all these coaches calling me and saying, "Hey, do you want to come pole vault at, University of Oklahoma, Texas State?" I think I got Georgia calling me. And I was like, I never thought about really college sports, but I'll consider it. And so, yeah, it was kind of a weird, probably not the traditional path that a lot of college athletes take, but I guess everyone has their own journey. But yeah, I kind of, I had all these schools recruiting me and I went on visits, all over the place, and that was really awesome. But then I thought, I don't know if I want to do it in college. I had a lot of back pain. In high school, I had stress fractures in my back, and it was really hard to pole vault. And it was yeah, it was just painful if I'm being honest. And so I thought, I'm not sure I really want to do this. And then I don't know, something in me just thought I need to give it a try. I got to do it. And that was the best thing that ever happened, I think, to me, because my experience is incredible. I would never take it back for
Mm.
anything. And yeah, I signed with the University of Oklahoma on scholarship and got to go there. It was wonderful. The team was wonderful. The people were wonderful. They treated us like, well, they treated the track athletes like they treated the football players, which is really something to to say. I mean, you felt special. You felt really awesome, like top-notch elite athlete. And it was just, yeah, it was like, an experience unlike anything else I've ever had. It just, you are walking on air all the time, right? Um, it was fantastic, and I did really well my freshman year, but I got a stress fracture in my shin. Um, and so I had to sit out for the outdoor season. There's 2 seasons in track. There's an indoor and an outdoor. The indoor is usually January, um, January and February, and then outdoor starts about 2 weeks after. So March and can continue until like June, July, sometimes further. So yeah, I competed in the indoor, had a stress fracture in my shin, and I competed through the stress fracture. It just was really, it hurt a lot. If you can imagine running on like a, a broken leg that's still
Jeez.
together, it was not fun. But yeah, I had a great year, but my coach ended up leaving Oklahoma, and this was an Olympic year. So this was 2012. All the coaches seemed to shift around during these like Olympic years. And so my coach shifted and got a job at Wake Forest in North Carolina, which I'd never heard of. I thought, what, Snake Forest? What is that? And I look it up. It was just way different than anything I had ever seen. A very nice school, a very academic school, a very fancy and expensive school. And I thought, well, there go. I'm not even going to think about that. But I was at OU for another semester, and I had like 5 different coaches. I had one come in, then they'd leave, but people were getting jobs, and I understood they have to, they need to go where they
Mhm.
are supposed to be, right, where they're needed. But it was really hard on us athletes, and so there was a time, I think middle of the semester, and I called my former coach and said, "Hey, I need you to recommend somewhere for me to go because I'm not going to get any better if I stay here. Love OU, absolutely love it, but I'm not going to improve." And he said, "Well, well, there's a couple schools. There's great schools like Arkansas, Indiana." I mean, he said, "I'll call these coaches." And I was like, "Okay." And then kind of before we hung up, "What about Wake Forest?" And he's like, "Oh, I never thought you'd consider it. So yeah, I'll ask." And so, anyways, that all came together, and I got to go visit Wake Forest, and then got a scholarship there that, yeah, that made it feasible for me to actually go. And yeah, I had quite a whirlwind there. Went, and I think the first year I was there, I tore my hamstring at the very last meet of the season. I had a great year, but I, tore my hamstring like right when it counted. And yeah, I was like tied to go to nationals, and like right before the tiebreaker, I tore my hamstring. And so
Oh,
during the tiebreaker, I was still trying to vault, but I couldn't really run very well, as you can imagine.
jeez.
It was crazy. Yeah, and then I think the next year, that was when I broke my foot. Yeah, I may have had I it gets lost in there because I had 6 total years in college of sports, so it's like they all blur together. But yeah, I had another year where I was starting out kind of mediocre, but I was really training hard, trying to do well, and
Mhm.
not end up in the same place I had the year before with tearing my hamstring. And yeah, I broke my foot right as the outdoor season started. And I was just running. I was running down the runway and decided not to take the vault. So usually we'd call that a run through. You just run from the runway up onto the mat. And the step before I jumped on the mat, my foot popped. So weird. And I said, ouch, that really
Yeah.
hurt. And it was broken. Just an acute fracture of my fourth metatarsal. And so yeah, I had a lot of time on my hands after that. I was on this little scooter, and I sat at home, because I couldn't walk for like, I think I wasn't running again for 6 months. It was a long recovery. It was not a great, for some
Wow.
reason my foot just wasn't responding well. And yeah, I sat at home for a long time. Started doing research because I had at Wake Forest kind of gotten into the academic side of things, and had realized, oh, I know how to read research articles, kind of. I mean, I was just a little baby researcher, but I was like, research articles, there's something to learn from them. There's some good science in there. And so I started looking up, best things for bone health, best things to prevent injury, best, diet. And I really got focused in on the diet because I knew with my training, there was not much I could control. I mean, my coach was really good at changing the workouts for me and modifying, but like I still had to do the workouts. I still had to train to pole vault, and I knew I slept pretty well, so that was another thing in the literature, like getting good sleep and staying hydrated. I was like, I already do those things pretty well. I'm a good sleeper. and good at hydrating. I'm always going to the bathroom like every hour. So I know I'm pretty well hydrated, right? And I was like, I think diet is where I have to zone in and I got to get good at this. And so yeah, through a ton of research, I thought, or I came to the conclusion, I need to go plant-based. And it was really weird because I was at home. And so I'm like in my parents' pantry, like, oh, I think this can of tomatoes is like the only plant-based thing I can eat. So I'm like sitting there trying to eat like plain canned tomatoes. And I'm like, this is terrible. I don't know what I'm gonna do, and but not telling my parents because they would have been like, no, we raise beef. You're not gonna not eat
And your
that.
dad does, like, he's deep into like nutrition with animals and
Yeah, he actually makes the feed
wow.
for cattle and horses. And he's kind of, yeah, I guess an animal nutritionist, if you will.
And now he's got
He
you.
Yeah, me, a troublemaker, causing him a lot of turmoil.
Good. Well, we've come to, we both have talked to him and your mom together, hopefully.
Yeah. No, I think he's really respectful
He
of
is.
yeah, of the science that we do, and he really does believe in it. He says this is, also my lifestyle, and I'm a farmer. You know, I can't really change too much of what I do. This is my entire life. So, but he does. I'm impressed. I think even more so now that I've probably talked his ear off about this. He plants a lot of vegetables in the garden and he eats a ton of them, and he's been doing that
Amazing.
his whole life. But he's even more so, puts an emphasis on it now. Kitty, I ate 3 peaches today and every day for the last 2 weeks, and I'm like, Dad, that's a lot of peaches. Good job.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it.
So,
So
anyways,
tell us, yeah, so
that's
now
how I
you're in
came to
your,
plant based. Yeah.
so you did all this research, you were injured. And so tell us the next year what happened.
Oh yeah, the good stuff. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
we heard it. We heard all this horrible, painful,
Yeah, no,
yeah. But
it was hard.
suddenly,
Yeah.
what happened?
Okay, so this was a lot of fun, and actually, I'm gonna pull it up so I have the exact numbers for you guys. But I started going plant-based, and I had lost some muscle, and I mean, I was totally out of shape. I didn't do anything for like, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 months. I remember it was a long time, right? And my foot was really, yeah, it was a difficult recovery, and so I start coming back, and I had to start on pole vaulting. You measure like your strength, your speed, your form, a lot of times by the pole that you're using. And smaller poles are not as good as bigger poles. You want to be on the biggest pole you can so that you can jump the highest you can, right? And I started that year on the smallest poles that I'd been on since like high school, maybe even junior high. It was embarrassing. And I was just, I just wasn't doing very well mentally, physically, but I bought into this plant-based thing and I said, I'm going to go for it full steam. And so once I got back to school, I did. My roommates thought, she might be a little crazy, but we'll see if this works out. Because I just took everything out of the pantry. I was like, I'm kind of a cold turkey person. I'm an extremist. Like I just go all in. And so,
Hmm.
yeah, that year, I started training, started eating plant-based. And I also was doing a research study on bone density and body composition. And so we do these things called DEXA scans. And I did it on several of my teammates as part of the research study. And I got to do it on myself too. And so I have like what my body composition was, all throughout the year. And so from I think it was August until that next April, I gained 7.81 to be exact, pounds of muscle, and lost 2.15 pounds of fat, which is so cool. And I don't even know what happened after that point because I continued my season. So that was mid-April, or late April. I continued my season through like mid or late June. And so I probably kept improving, but that's incredible. That's almost 8 pounds of muscle that I gained on a plant-based diet and then lost, at the same time, lost a little over 2 pounds of fat. And, the best part about that is, like I said, my season went till late June. That's a really good thing in the track world. That means I went to nationals. And so, yeah, I jumped the best that I ever did. I jumped 13 feet, 8.5 inches. That's
Wow.
4.18 meters if you're converting, at the regional track meet. And I just like, I knew I was going to peak. I don't know what it was. I just knew that I was going to peak right at the right time. I felt good. I felt strong. I just had so much confidence in what I was doing because I was like, I've got an advantage that no one else has. Like, I have got my nutrition, you know, totally down. I feel good. I recover quickly. I'm not going to get injured, and my bones aren't going to break. And that's what, I knew as long as I stayed healthy, I was a good vaulter. And so I could make it, like I knew what to do as long as I stayed healthy. Um, and I could do it. And yeah, it was absolutely incredible. Also, my sister showed up to the track meet where I did my best ever, and she
Aw.
surprised me there. And that, you know how much I love
Mm,
Kristen. She's
yeah.
amazing. And so that
Who's
was just
now,
like,
is she fully plant-based now still?
she
Working on
is.
it?
Yeah, she's gone plant-based, and she's
Go
like,
girl.
yeah, every time she's like, "Oh, I had to have like fish at work and I thought it was going to be good, but I didn't even care for it and then it made me feel bad." So anyway, she's like,
Oh,
yeah, she's
fantastic.
awesome. So she's feeling really good too. But yeah, I just, I jumped the best ever and made it to nationals, and it was like, wow, this whole plant-based thing's really
Now,
awesome.
not only did you make it to nationals and you did the best you had ever done, but you had no injury, right?
Yeah, no injury, no bone injury. That was the first time in my life during a track season that I
Since
didn't have
since you
like a stress
started,
fracture.
right? Since you
Yeah.
started, literally all those years. So we're talking how many years
That
until
was
a
up
decade?
until, to that point, it was probably 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably
Wow.
9, maybe more,
Amazing.
10. Yeah, you're right, somewhere around there.
A lot
But
of
yeah,
years.
a long time, and I haven't had a stress fracture since I've gone plant-based. I mean, I haven't broken any bones, and I mean,
Amazing.
but also, I mean, I had high bone density before I went plant-based. So it's not, it didn't only have to do with like, oh, you improved your bone density a ton. Like, I had good bone density, but it improved a little bit more. And also, I think I was recovering faster. And so I wasn't as
Mm.
susceptible to, to that inflammation constantly, or to
Well,
that injury, you know?
exactly. Well, not only that, though, too, if you think about it, you were coming off of being convalescent for 5, 6 months. So you were at so
True.
deconditioned, you would have put you at a higher risk of injury. But yet you
Yeah.
go on to not only have no injury, but perform the best in your career and make it to a level that you had never succeeded before. That's, it blows my
I like
mind.
how you put it, Lori. You make me feel really good.
Well, it's just phenomenal. And what cracks me up is there's this coincidence of you having these DEXA scans showing the body
Right?
composition changing. I was just like, and this isn't newbie gains. I mean, granted, you had that convalescent period, but you had already muscle, but you had added
Yeah.
benefit. You might have had
This
a
was
little
the
gains.
leanest. This was the
Yeah.
leanest I think I ever was in my college career, was,
Oh,
yeah. But like lean in a
amazing.
good and strong way. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
I wasn't like low
Dang.
weight. Like, I was at my peak weight, which was, I mean, for me, like high 130s or low 140s. Like, I had a lot of muscle on me. I
Mm,
think it shows right here, like my lean mass was 105.5 pounds, which is like, that's a lot of lean mass.
mhm.
For a female of my, my normal
Yeah.
weight's like 135-ish. And so, yeah,
Mhm.
I was strong, but and I was a little over like my average weight, but it was all muscle. I mean, it was just awesome.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
could feel it. I really could feel it. I mean, I could just tell like I was stronger than before. And you're right.
Yeah.
Like, you don't expect that, coming back off of injury to come
Mhm.
back that quickly, because that was,
Mhm.
it was, I don't know, maybe 8 or so months that I was actually like, you know, going full steam ahead, and
Mhm.
turned it around and got that kind of, I mean, those gains were just what I got in 7 months. So
Amazing.
that
I
was pretty
that's
quick.
that's very quick. And so now to get to the really cool stuff, because not only can the people listen to the podcast here and your incredible story, but now we're going to get to why you're wearing, well, one of the reasons I sent you the HHR shirt earlier, but why we recruited this amazing person Miss Katie, to share her knowledge with you guys. And we had her develop a course. You want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So I'll kind of give you a little bit of like my credentials as well. I know Lori mentioned I'm working on a PhD right now, but yeah, I got really into the research um, component at Wake Forest and took that into a master's degree. Got to do a master's at the University of Pittsburgh. I also got to compete there, which was really fun for a very final year. And then I worked in a research hospital for a year. And then I realized, you know what? I want to go back and I want to do more school. I want to get a PhD. A lot of these people, that are in charge of the research are doing PhDs. So yeah, anyways, I am now in my final year of a PhD, and they call us ABD, which means we're all but dissertation at this phase. And that just means you are almost done, but you could drag this out for the rest of your life if you really wanted to. But I'm not going to do that. I'm planning to graduate this August. But yeah, I've paired up with Lori, and I've learned so much in all of my education and then also my personal experience to be able to bring to this course a lot of my knowledge of both exercise physiology, nutrition in like the formal sense, but also in the I've been there, done that sense. And this is what it actually feels like. This is what these things actually how they play out in real life rather just than just in a textbook. But I'm in the course. It's called the plant-based diet and exercise masterclass. And so what I really want to come across, what I want someone going through this course to really get from it is like exercise and nutrition are not only the most amazing things you can do for your body, but if you pair them up, you get this synergy that is just incredible. And it's the best thing that you can do for your health. If you're an athlete, if you're an aspiring athlete, if you are a stay-at-home mom, which is totally my dream job, if you are a stay-at-home grandma or grandpa or a stay-at-home dad, whatever you do, you should be exercising, you should be eating well, and I would say that's a plant-based diet. And so how do we do these things? I really like to talk about that. Like, let's work on implementing these things right in our life. So yeah, I think I'll kind of take you through the modules quickly. The first is what I just said, like why nutrition and exercise make you a healthy human, as my shirt says, right? And then you've got to also listen to your body. And so that's the next module that I take take the student through in the class is how do you understand the signals that your body's giving you? And this is like my absolute favorite because I had to become an expert at this while I was a college athlete because I'd feel something and I thought, this is either going to get worse or I can like turn a corner right now and I'm going to get better, right? Like I'm feeling totally fatigued all day. Well, you have to figure out where that's coming from. Is that, are you low in something like B12 or iron, or have you not been sleeping? Or are you exercising like way more than your body can handle? And so in the course, I talk through some of those things and how I know, and my body is very unique, but how you can know, and then also, go to your doctor and your doctor can help you. But I love talking about listening to your body. That's like, that's a skill that's been gained over a lot of trial and error and many years. But the next module is I call it how to lose weight, how to maintain, and how to gain. Because a lot of people are looking to do one of those things, right? A lot of people are looking to lose weight, but in a healthy way, in a sustainable way. And that's what I get so frustrated with a lot of the misinformation out there that tells you, you can lose weight this quickly, you can get it off in like a week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks. And it's this short-term temporary thing, like get your beach body ready. But we want to have like strong, healthy bodies for our entire lives. A beach body is great, but that's only during the summer. I want to feel good all year round. And so that's kind of, I love talking about that, but also there's a lot of people wanting to maintain their weight, like myself, currently I want to maintain it, but that's a very fine balance. And some days you're like, oh no, I need to check myself. And then other days you're like, oh geez, I've not been eating enough. And so that's kind of fun to talk about, to assess. And then also how to gain weight. A lot of people are also looking to like gain specifically muscle mass. And if my short 7 months of gaining, a little over a pound a month of muscle and losing some fat at the same time is any indication, I have, some experience in that area that I can help share. And I think that it's really fun to share, especially that with people who are just looking to, yeah, how do I do this? And a lot of people tell me, oh, that's impossible on a plant-based diet. You can't, you don't get enough protein. You can't, gain muscle. And I prove you wrong with math and science. And well, I make it a little bit fun in the course.
I love it. You do a really nice job explaining all of that. So you guys, it's really good. But what's the next module?
Yeah, so this one is also really fun because it's something I say often. If you have a body, you're an athlete. And what I mean by that is, yeah, everybody is an athlete. Inherently, you've got a body, you can do amazing things with it. Some people don't have the same capacity as others with their body, but you have a lot that you can do. And I think that it is so fun to be able to maximize your health, your potential. And I don't think everyone needs to compete or do any of these things. It's really fun to do those if you want to, but it's also really awesome to be able to just last week, I took down my mom's Christmas tree and all of her stuff, and it was really hard and heavy, but I am really strong and I can do it. And it was like so gratifying to do that for my mom. Yeah, just because I keep my body maintained so that it is ready to do things that are called for in life. And same with, yeah, like if you're a mom, like you want to be able to lift your babies and same with, yeah, if you're a dad, like you want to lift your kids, you want to be able to help in certain situations. And so how do you kind of treat your body in such a way that you're ready when you're called to do these things? Yeah,
I like that. I like your body's being ready. Yeah, it's ready for the daily, needs and, requirements of just being a human. So, and we live in a world that so much is done for us, automated things, and we're sitting all the time. So it's even more important now than ever that we think about those things. Like where do I need to do to maintain health in the exercise and the component? So what is our next module?
Yeah. Oh, and just touching on that really quickly. I think a lot of people, they don't consider themselves athletes, but what we're talking about here, they're athletic maneuvers. I mean, things that you do day to day are totally athletic maneuvers. So yeah, I like talking about that. And yeah, you are an athlete. You just picked up a table and moved it across the air. Like you're an athlete.
You think that little toddler that's 20 to 40 pounds isn't some athletic, whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of weight.
Exactly. So anyway, sorry, Lori. I get excited.
Keep going.
I get excited. So yeah, the last module is how to actually implement an exercise training program, because this is where I've talked about all these things. They're really great to think about. I have a lot of things in the back of my mind all the time, but when it comes down to it, you have to think practically too, and you've got to put things into motion. So in the 5th module, I talk about, okay, let's get you to where you actually can get a routine. What allows you to develop a routine? How do we get into that? And then how do you actually carry it out? And then I give different exercises, and I give several different weight sheets as examples. Some that are maybe more beginners or people who are wanting to do, like myself. I consider myself I just do lighter weight, and then I go up to, I have some weight sheets or PDFs that I've sent you guys that, yeah, they'll be a little bit more intense. That's more like what I was doing in my college days, training 3-4 hours a day, right? So it's fun to kind of give those out, and people can use what they need. I mean, I like to pull from several different sources, and this works for me. I enjoy this, and yeah, actually writing it out, getting a plan down, sticking to it, something that I'm actually gonna do and plan to do for the rest of my life, obviously with variation. But like I love getting a routine, getting a solid plan and saying, okay, this is how I'm gonna stay healthy, I'm gonna stay strong, I'm gonna feel good forever, you know, as long as I can anyways. So
Right, absolutely. So, and that kind of echoes back to my mantra. People have forgotten what it's like to feel normal. One, we're not moving
mm,
as much. We don't feed our bodies well. We don't get the sleep we need. We have a tons of stress we're not dealing with. So, if you can build those, like you described, those habits or routines that are just in there on a daily basis, they all stack up. And then before you know it, you're doing things and feel so good. And you're older, like myself, being 50 now, you sit there and you're thinking, wow, I don't feel like the other 50-year-olds I'm seeing walking around. I certainly feel, like I'm in my 20s. My brain thinks it's in my 20s. My body thinks this, oh, maybe I am in my 20s. 50 is a new 25,
you
right?
Laura, you look like you're in your 20s. So I don't know if anyone's convinced that you're actually 50.
I don't know. I birthed those three, so I don't
That's
know.
true. That's
Which,
true.
yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, it's a lot of fun. And Katie came out, and we had such fun filming, and I just
Yeah.
can't wait for you guys to really. It's a really well done course, and it's just fun to share your knowledge and coming from your experience. I mean, it speaks volumes. And if this doesn't impress you guys, dude, I don't know what will. I'm really serious. Like this, I mean, it's
Oh,
one thing
Laura,
to
you're
see.
too kind.
No, I'm serious. I mean, you look at Olympic athletes. Okay, they were training their whole life. Then they go plant based. They still do. But you actually had injury after injury.
Oh my
Discovered it
goodness.
by yourself. Implemented it. Did the testing and this research. I mean, it's just like it was like a perfect layout over so many years of this perfect experiment that led to this amazing response. And now you've embraced it and encouraging others to do it. I mean, I
Yeah.
just think I just see this path. It was just like, wow, that was meant to
Yeah.
be.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and I love the word, the key word you use there is experiment, and that's how I felt most of the
Mm,
time, in my college career. I felt like, I am a researcher. I love doing experiments. The only person I can really do this on ethically is myself. I'm going to go for it. And I
N of
did.
one.
Yeah, N of one and huge success. I mean,
Mhm.
absolutely fantastic results. And yeah, I've learned so much beyond that too. And it really has extended beyond myself. That was, I think as athletes, we tend, I mean, this is our job to be very focused on
Mm.
ourselves, but now I'm not an athlete. And so, well, I am an athlete, but I'm not a full-time
Right.
college athlete
Right.
anymore. But yeah, I've looked out into the world and seen, wow, there's so many people we can help. And yeah, you're one of those people that is absolutely inspiring. I mean, you go out and help all of these people just, just with plants. And so yeah,
uh,
a lot of my friends give me a hard time because plants is my answer for pretty much everything. But it is the answer for almost everything.
I'll tell you, it should be your starting point.
There we
It's
go.
very easy to implement, and what you feed your body is literally the foundation of everything else. And honestly, I don't even start the conversation about exercise until I get their diet and short
Mm,
up, at least in that,
yeah.
other people are like, I need to exercise more. I'm like, no, no, no. We're going to talk about what you're feeding your body so that you can exercise to your
Yeah.
potential and see
And
those.
feel good while you're doing it, right?
Yeah,
Because
100%.
I feel good while I'm exercising.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I get maybe way too good because afterwards I'm like, I'm jacked up. Like, let's go. But it didn't used to be that way, I used
Right.
to
Like cringe and say, oh no, look, another
yeah.
shin splint. Oh no, another
I
stress
used to
fracture.
get yeah,
You've
used to
had
get whooped by it.
And you've had surgeries on how many things?
I just
Joints?
my hip. I'm about to
Hip.
have surgery on my other hip.
Oh,
Because that's an injury from a long
lingering.
time ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had and genetics. I have torn labrums in my hip. So, but the
Yeah.
one that I had surgery on is great.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Shored up nicely.
Good hip. Good about, $50,000 hip. It's my
we,
expensive one.
we're not even going to talk about healthcare, but anyway.
The other one was free. So the other hip was free. No,
Awesome.
I didn't have to pay that, but but I call it my $50,000 hip, of course.
Oh
so,
my
yeah.
goodness, that's so funny. But anyway, guys, I do want to say thanks, Katie. I recruited you out of your day for an hour, and I did want to say thank you for sharing not only your knowledge and story, but you're just so delightful. It's just I just love and
You
enjoy
too,
talking to you
Lori.
so much.
Yeah, you always brighten my spirits, even though they're already like pretty bright. Every time I talk to you, I'm
Turn
just
it up. Let your little
even
light
more.
shine.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. Well, if I'll tell you guys, if this doesn't brighten your day, I don't know what. I don't know if there's much hope for you. So anyway, but Miss Katie, thanks so much. Plants, yes, turn it up. And you know, it's like you gotta let your light shine. You just gotta let your light shine, and that's what you do.
Right.
And so thank you.
Thank you, Lori.
You're welcome. Thanks everyone for listening. See the links below. We'll take you to the course and lots of other amazing resources at Healthy Human Revolution. And if you have any questions, please put them below. And if I don't know it, I will just tag Katie and have her come over and answer those for you. So thanks everyone. And thanks, Katie.
Thank you, Lori.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video. Before you go though, please hit the subscribe button and the alert button so you will be notified whenever we upload any new videos. On Monday, we upload the Healthy Human Revolution podcast. Now, if you'd rather listen to the podcast, you can find it on all the major platforms, such as iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and even Spotify. On Tuesdays, we upload the Doctor's In. This is where I answer your questions. Thinking of that, could you please comment below any questions you might have about health or wellness or any topics that you would like me to cover? Now, if you're looking for more resources on how to start a plant-based diet, sustain a plant-based diet, exercise, recipes, anything regarding wellness, we've got you covered. Check out healthyhumanrevolution.com. And again, thanks for watching.